Welcome back for week 12 of the Beat the Host Challenge, and I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving and a marvelous time over the holiday, and we're going to get right to it. Foosball.
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 Check out that foosball, Bobby Boucher.
It was an interesting weekend.
It was. I got absolutely nothing right. Of course, I've been watching the World Cup, so I really haven't given a shit, but
You got a couple.
Yeah, you got 4, right?
I got 4 out of 10. I went, like I said, I went strictly with the odds. I went percentages on every game, and they were wrong. 60% of the time, it was wrong.
Vegas was right 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, but in baseball, that's a good average. You bet.
That's a damn good
If
average.
you bet 400, you're stud.
Hell yeah. You hitting 4 out of 10? Shit. Sign him up.
Yeah, but like we've been saying, Michigan has the best defense in the Big Ten.
Let's see. So Michigan told Ohio to take a walk. And what do we think the deciding factor was in that? Michigan's defense, you say?
Defense.
It was all defense. I didn't see the game.
Michigan's got a fourth quarter defense. Yeah.
They also proved that Ohio State's secondary isn't as good because Ohio State was selling out the entire game to stop the run, stacking the box. So they left their corners and safeties on an island, and they got burnt. Barbecue chicken alert.
So Ohio's defense wasn't worth a shit, and Michigan's was on top.
Yeah, pretty much.
They have an average defense. I'll call it
Well,
average.
Michigan sounds like Michigan exploited it pretty well.
Well, Michigan, like we've been saying, or at least I've pointed out, they have longevity late third and into the fourth quarter. They got enough fresh legs to keep the pressure on defensively, and I think that's made a big difference with that team this year. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Go
That's your
Blue.
story. But still, they beat them they doubled their score.
Yeah.
They ran away with it late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it got ugly in the fourth.
But then you get to
couple interceptions and things like
Gotcha. But then you go to the Clemson, South Carolina game, and South Carolina won by a point.
I saw this one coming.
You did?
Yeah.
All season long.
It's only by a point.
Yeah. Well, that's because of Spencer Radler. He threw 2 or 3 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6, and the other one they were about to score, and he threw an interception. So they really should have beat Clemson probably by 2 touchdowns.
Really? All right. So then we have Clemson lost that one fair and square.
We talked about it last week. James Madison just moved up. I don't know if it was this year or last year. They just moved up from FCS to FBS, Division I football. And they had a national championship recently on the FCS level. So it's not that they don't have a bad football team. They just moved up. So they're probably look out for that team to be really good.
Like how good? Like moving up to
Well, they're in the Sun Belt, so they're only going to get so far. Like they'll never get, maybe
SEC or anything like that.
Well, they could.
Yeah,
but
they could draw in out of conference games if they're good enough. But, the schedules are so predetermined years in advance. You can't determine, how good of a team you're going to have 3 years from now. I bet on playing a Clemson or a Georgia or someone like that.
Depending on how good they are in the future, they're in the Sun Belt Conference. So when the playoff expands to 12 teams, which is likely, I guess, they could sneak in as an at-large. Because that's what all these media types want. They want the Cinderella story in college football.
Yeah, I liked your breakdown. Reduce it back to 10 regular season games and then blow it out a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going to blow out the playoff, then do exactly what the FCS does. They play 10 games instead of 12. That either forces you to do one or two things. Either you play more conference games or you get 2 cupcakes. And people will schedule cupcakes. They will no longer schedule these crazy out of conference games because you're going to play them at the end of the year if you win out.
Right.
But that Smitty, just for reference, I think the FCS would we say 24 teams, Jason? I think I counted.
I
For
don't
their
remember.
playoff. So basically the
It was
top
pretty big.
25, you might as well, whatever the ranking is from 1 to 25, those are the ones you put in. And I think the top 8 get a bye.
Oh, so you're playing 12 playoff games?
Yeah, but you're potentially like in your season, if you only play 10 regular season games, let's say you don't play a conference championship or something. Maybe
Right.
they do away with that.
Okay.
And then that probably won't happen because it's another money grab. And then you get seeded and you play probably, I think at most you could play 4 more games, maybe 3, depending on how many teams they expand it to. If you get a bye. So you're still looking at playing 15 to 16 games, but that's why you reduce the regular season.
I got you.
Yeah, if you can cut 2 back regular season and only add 1 on the back end for the last 2 teams, I don't think the wear and tear is that bad. Good idea. I like it. It makes sense. But, what's logic got to do with this?
Right. I mean, they only play 10 games in high school, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Oregon Ducks and the Beavers. And the frickin' Beavers.
Oregon Ducks. The Ducks took a load of buckshot.
Yeah.
Well, they only lost by 4. I mean.
Well, that took them out of the championship game this week. They could have backdoored in if Washington had won.
Yeah.
Lost, I'm sorry. Is that correct? Washington would have to have lost their game state, and they could have backdoored in. But now we get a rematch of Utah and USC. The USC gets to revenge that loss if they can pull it off. It was only by 1 point, I remember correctly.
Which game?
Yeah, they lost 43-42 mid-season to Utah. So, yeah, that they can
figure out. Because I'm looking at the standings. Once they haven't updated this.
They still have Oregon.
They still have USC and Washington because they don't have divisions. They're like the Big 12.
Yeah, I believe it's top 2. Excuse me, let me go to it real quick.
Utah is in the game. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's Utah and USC for next week. Oh, yeah, they put that on Friday?
Yeah, there's a couple games probably being played on.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That was another one
Sure.
Not to poke a jab, but does the head coach from Minnesota remind you of Mr. Rogers with a shaved head?
Kind of.
I'm just saying.
Never seen the guy.
He's got the
I
little.
have no idea what he looks like.
He's got the sweater on. He's rocking the sweater, Smitty.
The cardigan?
What's his name?
Put it up here for him, Taylor. You don't know this coach's name? Are you slacking?
Yeah, I am. The name is escaping me. As soon as I see it, PJ Fleck.
Okay. He also kind of looks like the click on that picture with a red sweater on.
This one?
Yeah, that one. He looks like somebody. Who the hell does he look like? He's not reminding me of Mr. Rogers, but I'm sure Jason probably saw a different picture of him. He probably looked like him. One of those pictures, he kind of reminded me of
there it is.
The dude from Breaking Bad. Not the main guy, his lackey.
Oh, yeah. So, and then Wisconsin had fired their coach earlier this year. They hired Luke Fickell today from Cincinnati.
So who'd they have last week for the game?
They did.
Yeah, I don't know who the interim was. I think it was the defensive
So
coordinator.
Fickell went to where? I'm sorry?
Went to Wisconsin.
Interesting.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
And the other guy, the old Ole Miss coach, you called that shot about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, they announced, sources announced today that they had to get it past Craig Sankey. He had a show cause.
Duke lost to Wake Forest.
No, Duke won.
Duke won. That's right. I picked Wake Forest.
What is in the bottle, Smitty?
Well, it's because when I look at these, I'm looking at the gray. It's grayed out like it lost, but no, it's because I lost is why it's grayed out.
You're the loser, okay?
Because I picked Wake Forest. That's why it's showing it.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't pick that one either. That was a big apparent upset. You guys picked them though, didn't you? You dirty hookers.
Not Duke.
No, I picked Wake Forest. God, we all got.
What about USC? Who picked USC? All of us?
Oh, yeah. You picked Notre Dame.
No, I didn't.
I did.
Oh, Tater did. I'm sorry. Because I would like to see.
No.
I'd like to see Georgia play TCU in the Dome. Michigan and USC would be on the West Coast, I presume.
Is it set yet?
No, not yet. But it's looking. This is how it's shaping up. If everyone wins out, which is a fair chance, except for USC, flip a quarter on that one. Because LSU lost, so that's they're 8-4, I believe. No, they're 9-3. I'm sorry. So LSU's 9-3, playing Georgia in the Peach Bowl here, coming up. No, that go ahead.
Play a terrible Georgia team in the first half and a super team in the second half.
That's how it usually runs.
Last few games.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I don't even know what the regular games looks like. So who do we got left?
Still gets an opportunity to win the ACC.
Yes, they do, and probably will.
Yeah, because North Carolina looked like dog dookie last week.
Yeah, they've lost their luster.
But that quarterback is for real, though. I don't think it's so much on him. I think it has more to do with what's going on around him.
Yeah, they got some roles to fill to solidify that team.
Not that I want it to happen or anything, but Kansas State upset TCU. I wouldn't be too sad.
we literally need TCU to win out.
And why is that?
Because I don't want Ohio State to get a free hall pass to a championship round.
Very careful. Alabama might get that hall pass.
I was looking at that earlier. So, Smitty, we got USC and Utah on Friday night, championship Pac-12. Wait a minute. That don't look. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's Kansas State and TCU, Big 12, Saturday. We got our beloved Dogs, much as Tater don't like them, against LSU. Saturday afternoon at the Mercedes-Benz. And Tulane and UCF gets a rematch. This is interesting. Tulane, if they did not lose the UCF earlier in the year and that other snafu they had, they'd be undefeated right now.
Yep.
With 3 wins against ranked teams.
Probably be in the top 10.
That might have been a conversation. Never know.
As it stands right now, at least in the AP, it's Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, Ohio State, Alabama.
Right. Coach's poll reflects that the same.
If 2 lose, two of those 4 teams, I could get weird.
If USC loses, I'm going to place a wager they're out.
I mean, because you could make an argument for Tennessee, even though their quarterback's out. They did beat Alabama. I'm surprised they're not ranked in front of them. Same record and common opponents.
True, but it's a different team today. But they do view it as the overall season, but today, who's the better team? I'd take Alabama. Yeah. But that backup quarterback was singing the other day. The offense did not skip a beat. Just has no defense.
Who you got in the Conference USA Championship? The North Texas Mean Green or the UTSA Roadrunners?
Is that a trick question?
It should be a doozy.
How about the Roadrunners? It's just for Looney Tunes. I'll go with a Roadrunner.
You know, if Utah beats USC, that'll be 2 years in a row. They beat the same team twice in the regular season and in the Pac-12 championship game. And it's different teams. Last year they did it to Oregon.
Interesting. That tip there.
I wonder if that's how
did you pull this trivia out of your ass all the time?
College football is what I do. I don't really care about much else.
Well, you just like
when it comes to sports and like
it's
just
like,
knowing.
The other week, you're like you knew the receiver coach for Ohio State, the receivers. Yeah. I mean, just plucked that shit out of nowhere. Knew the recruiting class. That's good shit, guy.
I saw a report that Florida does not expect Anthony Richardson back next year. They expect him to declare for the draft.
That might be a good thing.
Probably is.
Because the way the team is flowing, they need a reset. I could be wrong there, but they need a reset.
Yeah, I'm just curious how much, because the offense itself, even though it drove me nuts at times, they averaged like 31, 32 points a game, which is, I think they have a top 25 offense. I don't know, but the defense, the problem is the past 3 years, 2 years ago, COVID year, if our defense had just been average, we would have won a national championship. But they were so god awful that we lost 4 games. Actually, one of those games nobody showed up for, bowl game. But either way, defense has got to be fixed. That's got to be the priority.
Yeah, you don't win championships without defense and a good kicker.
Yeah.
If you get a 90, 95% guy, you're good. It's like here of late, if you're 40 plus on the kick, I guarantee you all the leagues might be 70%, maybe just a hair over. I haven't seen this many missed field goals in years.
And the one thing I noticed about it wasn't the long field goals that were getting missed, is the chip shots, like inside of 30, somewhere between 20 and 30 yards.
Yeah, they
give or
get
take.
like a shank.
Yeah.
So what do you see? Top 4 went out. We're going to make the presumption that they're in.
Yeah, I'd say it's.
You think
it's set
the
up that
order
way.
would change any, or you think the?
We'll see what the committee thinks tomorrow, because they might think Michigan's the number 1 team.
Yeah, they're from the Midwest, so yeah, that's very possible.
I could also see them, when it's all said and done, ranking. If they're going to do it one of 2 ways. The reason I say they could rank Michigan number 1 is because Michigan against USC is would be a very popular game, because Big Ten, Pac-12, the whole Rose Bowl thing, even though they're not going to be playing in the Rose Bowl still
For the match, because it's the 1 and 4 and 2 and 3 play.
Yeah, you're naive if you don't think that goes into it as well.
Yeah, because in my mind, Georgia and TCU need to play, because that would be a good draw, even though Texas would have to travel to Georgia for the game.
Yeah.
That would be better than USC traveling across the entire country. I think that would be a good draw and a good game. And I wouldn't want Georgia and Michigan in the same ladder, because one of them is going to win the championship this year, in my opinion.
Yeah. You could have Georgia. You got the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. So they'd play in Glendale. And then the championship game at SoFi Stadium in California. SoFi. Is that where the 49ers play? It's I think it's a pro team stadium.
Yeah.
Inglewood. It's in Inglewood.
Inglewood.
Friday. Friday was on the TV the other day. I turned it on.
Was it?
Yeah.
What was on? I'm sorry.
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
The movie.
The movie.
There's a movie named Friday?
Oh, my God. You never saw Friday?
No, I thought it was a TV series.
Nope.
I'm
No, it's got Ice Cube and Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Missed it.
Do
I need to write this down?
I don't know. It might not be your cup of tea.
You know, you'd probably fucking hate it.
Yeah. I don't think it's your cup of tea.
All right. So what else do we
They also
got?
had all the Vegas or the vacation movies on with Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation. Yeah.
They're all good. This first one was my favorite. And then after that one, they had European Vacation. Then they came out with Christmas Vacation. Then they did Vegas, which was strained. But
What were you going to say, Jason?
I have no idea.
Well,
so the question is, or is there even a question? If USC does lose, does Ohio State sneak in?
it depends. It could go either way. It depends on how the committee views it. views the loss to Michigan. It wasn't, even with the 23 points, that game wasn't close.
No, it wasn't. If they do stick them in there, I think they ought to line them up like they did Georgia, Alabama that one year. They got to play again, or was it Georgia and? Or am I mistaken here?
Well, Georgia and Alabama.
There was 2 SEC teams that ended up having to play each other before the championship game, or am I mistaken?
You're mistaken.
Okay.
It's not a hard mistake to make. So last year, they played in the SEC championship game and then rematched in the national championship game.
Okay.
The previous time is when Alabama got in. I forget who lost. It was 2017.
LSU, maybe?
No, I want to say that Ohio State lost the Big Ten championship game that year or something like that. Somebody lost and Alabama snuck in after Georgia beat Auburn in the SEC championship game. Then Georgia played Oklahoma, and I think that's the year that Alabama beat Clemson in the semifinal, and then they both played.
Yeah, that was the year. That was a hell of a football game. I think Alabama won by a field goal or something.
Well, they threw that. They brought Tua in. They put Tua in the second half.
Yep.
That was the big deal. And then that Tua made that throw to Devontae Smith in the end zone in overtime. I didn't stay up for that. I didn't even know who won the game till the next morning. I fell asleep on the couch. That was a hell of a game, yeah. I went back and rewatched it. Last year's game was a good game.
And my wife is so happy.
I'm sure y'all probably tore that place apart, man.
No, her Brock Bowers jersey will be here tomorrow.
Yeah, she texted me today.
Oh, I don't know who was announcing the Georgia game, but if my football trivia is better than the analysts they got on TV, then something's wrong.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There's been quite a few bloopers this year across the board.
So this goofball that was on there tried to say that Bowers was not a highly rated recruit.
He said Brock Bowers wasn't a highly rated recruit.
Correct.
Did he read the wrong prompt?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find it. Brock Bowers was the number 1 tight end coming out of high school in the country, and he came out of Napa, California.
I believe you're correct.
So he was the number. He was the 105th recruit in the country, number 1 tight end went out. Yeah, he is from Napa, California. Like, to say some stupid crap like that on national television is ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? And one of the worst commentators to ever listen to. He's just corny. Is Robert Griffin III?
Oh, the quarterback.
Yeah, the former Baylor quarterback.
RG3.
Yeah,
didn't he go somewhere?
He played in the NFL for like a year.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember that name.
Knee blowed out again, I think.
Yeah, he's been an analyst for ESPN ever since.
I mean, Brock Bowers in 2 seasons so far, 102 receptions, 1,527 yards.
Yeah, he's got to play another year. That's the crazy thing, to be honest with you.
I mean, having him and Washington on the field at the same time is just wrong, because Washington's got good hands too. And that dude's a monster.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, just you see him walking around with a lineman and he's looking down at lineman. I'm like, I think they got his stats wrong. There's something wrong with his stats.
Yeah, it's going to be a first rounder for sure. Probably both of them, to be honest with you.
I think both of them will go first round when they come out. Because they're not going to come out together, I don't think.
Yeah, just speed, pure athleticism for his size for Washington. I don't think he has the greatest hands in the world, but he's a massive tight end.
Yes, that's a grown-ass man.
He's 6'7".
270, they claim. Right?
Yeah, 6'7.5".
Don't forget that half.
Yeah, don't forget the half. Some damn good players. There's gonna be another round of first rounders this year. I'm sure. I think Jalen Carter, he's probably going first round. Keely Ringo probably go top 2 rounds if he comes out.
Yeah, I think Carter's coming out.
Cedric Van Pran, but he was highly rated.
Wow,
there's
that's
gonna be
wow. Brock Bowers. Stats against Florida, 5 for 154 yards.
Look at that was the only 5 passes that Stetson completed.
Might have been. He did the same thing to South Carolina. 5 for 121.
Stetson's stats against us are terrible. I don't know.
Yeah, you pointed that out before.
I don't know why that is, because we have a terrible defense. He should look like a Heisman contender against.
Please, if anybody has any questions or comments, hit us up at primecohesion@gmail.com or head to our Facebook page at Prime Cohesion on Facebook and leave some comments. We'd appreciate it.